That was interesting. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do the entirety of this practice on the floor in some capacity. It'll be a variety of sitting, lying prone, lying supine, and probably doing some very basic lunge variations. So we'll just see how it goes. Let me grab my clock. And so let's go ahead and begin in a seated pose. And we'll begin with alternate nostril breathing, which is a wonderful pranayama technique to balance energy. So if you're particularly low energy like I am in this moment, this pranayama technique will help to raise my energy, not to the state of anxious energy, but just to the state of mindful and concentrative awareness. So take the right hand, fold the index and third finger into the palm, and then bring the hand to the face, using the fourth finger to close off the left nostril, thumb to close off the right. And so begin by inhaling through both nostrils. Close off the left and exhale through the right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. And then go ahead and simply bring your hand down to rest in your lap or to rest on your leg. And then simply notice the breath, observing the depth of the breath. Is the breath in the chest, or does it descend all the way down to the level of the belly, or all the way down to the level of the pelvic floor? Is the rate of breathing slow or fast. Is the rate of breathing or the quality of breathing regular and even or irregular and kind of ratchety? So simply observing. And so a slow, steady breath is conducive to a relaxed physical state. And a calm and quiet mental state. And so know that this breathing technique, alternate nostril breathing, is always available. It only takes a few minutes, 4 to 8 rounds minimally, to bring about this calming yet energizing quality with your body, mind, and breath. And so let's go ahead and grab our blocks and our strap, and then go ahead and fold the blanket out so that from the shoulders all the way down to the tops of the thighs, that part of your body will be cushioned by the blanket. And then you'll also want to have room to extend the legs all the way out. And you will want to have room to raise the arms overhead. So taking time and care to mindfully place yourself down onto the mat, onto your blanket. And then go ahead and bend your knees and take a few moments to press into the feet and then lift the sacrum ever so slightly, just to begin to lengthen the back body and create a little bit of space in between the vertebrae, allowing the muscles to lengthen. So just lifting ever so slightly. And then set the arms down at your side, palms down. And just take a moment to notice feet, sacrum, low back curve, shoulder blades, curve of the neck, and the back of the head connecting to the earth. So feet, sacrum, shoulder blades, back of the head connecting down to the earth. And then low back and neck lifted up ever so slightly. These are your normal, natural curves. So let's just inhale, floating the arms up, feeling the heaviness of the arms, and noticing the connection of the head of the humerus, so the top of the arm bone, connecting into the shoulder girdle or the shoulder apparatus. Shoulder joint is also a term that applies. And so just go ahead and continue lifting the arms and lowering the arms. And so inhale, Floating the arms up and over. And then exhale, floating the arms up and down. And so continue to play with this very gentle movement. The stability and alignment of the feet, the legs, the hips, the torso, the back of the head, all connecting you to the earth, connecting your weight, supporting the movement and the flow of the breath so that you can rise up and lower down, rise up and lower down. So continue to just breathe and allow this repetitive, gentle movement, breath and prana flowing from the heart and the lungs, flowing out all the way through the circulatory system, the nervous system, the respiratory system, and even the endocrine system. So the slow, repetitive breathing and movement allows hormones to balance so that you're not producing a flood of stress hormones, that you're tapping those down. So go ahead now and keep the arms overhead. Take a couple of nice, slow, deep breaths. Just inhaling and exhaling. So allow the muscles in the arms to relax. So if there's a little bit of a bend or a lot of a bend in the elbows, that's perfectly fine. Simply allowing the backs of the arms to connect with the earth. Continue to breathe. Continue to notice the spinal curves. Continue to notice the weight of the body and the way that the body physically just begins to sink down, connecting into the earth. Muscles softening with each deep breath, creating more space. And then allow the elbows to bend even more. So now we're going to create a modified goalpost position with the arm. So it's okay if the angle at the elbow is greater than 90 degrees. Okay, so position yourself in a place so that as much of the backs of the arms, the tops and the bottoms, okay, backs of the arms, the forearms, the upper arms, really rest down and connect with the earth so that you can feel the connection of the skin and the weight of the arms resting heavy on the earth. Continue to allow the breath to flow deeply and smoothly, inviting so much space in the belly and in the pelvic floor that you can feel the movement of breath all the way down to the very, very, very bottom. Continuing to breathe deeply with each exhalation, allowing the muscles to soften even more. And then go ahead and turn your head to the right. Just slowly, gently, allowing the head to turn just as far to the right as it can. Continuing to allow the breath to flow deeply, rhythmically, smoothly. And then on an exhalation, bring the head back to center and just take a moment of observation there. And then on the next exhalation, turn your head just as far as it can go in the other direction. Just breathing and noticing. Belly and pelvic floor softening with each in-breath. And with each exhalation, chest moving down, pressing breath out. And then go ahead and bring the head back to center once again. And then lift the arms and interlace the fingers, making a cradle with your hands. And then just set the back of the head into the hands, allowing the elbows to rest open. So arms resting down towards the earth. And then go ahead and point the elbows up to the ceiling. So from the shoulders to the elbows, that line is perpendicular to the floor. And then just lift the head and the hands ever so slightly. Just cradling the head and the hands, chin moving towards the chest, breathing and noticing. And then begin to separate the hands so that you can support the head and then release the hands as you set the head all the way down. Bring the arms down and just rest the hands on your belly. Both hands just resting on the belly. Move awareness once again to the breath. Noticing as the breath flows in deeply, smoothly, completely. That it is so deep, expanding the chest so completely that the belly also changes shapes. The belly rises. And the belly falls. And so a few more breaths here. Notice if you can feel the expansion of the chest all the way into the back body, all the way up into the space above the collarbones. And then allowing it to expand so completely that the belly rises, and also the pressure generated by that in-breath presses the contents of the abdomen and the pelvic down towards the floor of the pelvis. And so you can softly engage. So moving awareness down, even as you keep awareness on the breathing, move awareness down to the soles of the feet. And then notice the connection and alignment from the soles of the feet, through the ankles, through the knee joint, all the way to the place where the head of the femur, the top of the thigh bone, connects into the hip socket. And so just noticing and focusing awareness there. Notice if in any place that you move awareness, notice if the breath is able to remain smooth and regular, or whether there's a holding of the breath. And so simply observing sensation, observing emotion, observing any thoughts that are fleeting through your awareness without judgment, just noticing, and then bring awareness back to the breath, into sensation in the body. And then go ahead and cup the hands on the knees. So you lift the feet off the floor, obviously, cupping the hands on the knees, and then simply allowing a full extension of the elbows. And so the weight of the legs allows a release of the muscles in the low back, the muscles in the hips. And then just very, very slightly begin swaying from side to side, just ever so slightly across the sacrum. Notice how this position of the body may affect what's going on in the neck. And so simply be aware, and then notice if you can create a letting go or a lengthening of whatever became, if anything became tight or tense in the neck as we began engaging the strength and the alignment in the arms. So now bring that motion to stillness and then begin circling. So creating circles with your knees and your hands, okay? Drawing the thighs close to the side, away, and to the other side. And notice any sensation, any weakness or strain caused by hands holding on to knees. Perhaps it's just perfect. Go ahead and roll it in the other direction. Perhaps it's absolutely comfortable. But every day we practice, our body's just a little bit different related to the experiences since our last yoga practice particularly. So bring that to stillness and just sway across the sacrum a few more times, and then bring that to stillness. Now we're gonna place the hands underneath the sacral bone for support. So you'll spread the hand and then tuck the palm down, okay? Tucking the thumb up towards the top of the sacrum, the fingers pointing down, okay? Making a bit of a triangle shape. Okay. And take a nice deep breath. So arms are pressing down, shoulder blades are pressing down, back of the head is pressing down, the thighs are still pressing towards the chest, ever so gently. Okay, so it's you just take them where they will go, keeping the sacrum perfectly down on the floor. Okay, so we're not going to be lifting the tailbone. Okay, we're just going to keep that whole heart-shaped sacral bone pressing down into the earth. And now you can begin engaging the muscles of the abdomen. And so instead of allowing that extreme softness, okay, that we were playing with when the feet were planted on the earth, now that the thighs are lifted, okay, we need to engage the lower abdominal and pelvic floor muscles so that the low back is supported. And what we're going to do is just very gently, we're going to lengthen the right leg, okay, and allow the ankle to be soft. So not flexed, but extended, and then bend the knee, okay? So inhale as you extend the left knee, okay, so you're extending the knee, and then just go ahead and bend the knee. So let's play through that. So just inhale, lengthening, exhale, bending. Okay, left leg, inhale, extending the knee, inhale, flexing. So continue to play with this. Okay. One part of the breath with one part of the movement. So breath and movement. Don't worry about how full the extension at the knee joint is. Okay, rather allow movement only through your natural pain-free range of motion. Okay, so don't push it to the point of discomfort. So there might be some sensation of lengthening, okay, that you are aware of, lengthening in the muscles in the thighs. And it may be after many, many repetitions, the extension becomes more complete, a fuller extension. But it's not a contest, it's just a matter of observing how your body responds to the very slow, mindful, and repetitive movements. Continuing to breathe, synchronizing breath with movement. Continuing to draw awareness towards sensation. And then bring that to stillness, and then release the hands, and then just set the tops of the hands onto the shins. Okay, pressing the thighs closer, okay, gently. And then gently rocking from side to side. Breathing and noticing. Alrighty, so let's bring that to stillness and set the feet down. So set the feet so that they are on the sticky mat and not on your blanket. So it might be a matter of just rolling the end of that blanket up a little bit so that the feet are firmly connected to something where they're not gonna slip or slide, okay? And then go ahead and grab your block. And we're going to begin with the block in the lowest level, okay? And then setting your alignment, so feet, knees, hip bones, shoulders in line with hips, and the crown of the head in line with the spine and with the pubic bone, okay? And then just go ahead and press the hips gently up and slide that block underneath so that the sacral bone, okay, as much of that sacral bone as can possibly connect with the breast, with the block, okay, that is where the block is placed. And then simply begin to notice. Okay, notice sensation in the floor of the pelvis. Notice sensation in the lower abdomen. Notice sensation of shoulder blades pressing down into the earth. Notice sensation of the back of the head connecting with the earth. Allow the palms to rest open. So roll the shoulders. Okay, so we are externally rotating at the shoulder joint and abducting. So the arms are coming out from the torso a little bit. And once again, connect ever so deeply with the breath. At this point, we can go back to the soft belly breath. Okay, so just resting here. The feet are supporting us, the feet and the legs. So we don't have to engage the core at this point to provide safety or protection. However, if you want to take an opportunity to strengthen the core, this is also an ideal position for deep observation of how the muscles, the core muscles work. And so inhale deeply if you want to, okay, and I invite you to inhale deeply. And then really engage. So you're really going to pull all of the musculature, okay, in towards the center, in towards the navel and just behind the navel. So almost to that space between the belly button and the spine, the anterior spine, okay, the front section of the spine, drawing those side muscles in, okay. And then also lifting the floor of the pelvis, okay, the pelvic floor muscles, pulling all that in and up towards the center with the out breath. And then with the in breath, allowing all of that to soften. Okay, so, either enjoying the nice, slow, smooth, belly rising, belly falling, it happens automatically, or you can allow your consciousness to direct muscular engagement, muscular activity. To work on strengthening. So let's count 5 breaths, okay? Either technique, your choice. That was the first one. The second. The third. The fourth. And the fifth. So now allow the breath to be smooth and even, simply observing not only the breath, but observing sensation in the whole body. Notice if there's any place where tension or tightness creeps in. And then, for example, okay, for me, I feel tension creeping into the back of my neck. And so what I know I can do is actually reach my shoulder blades out. So I'm extending that left shoulder, I'm just lifting it ever so slightly, extending it out and allowing the whole weight of that arm then to rest down and to create a little traction, a nice opening in that left shoulder, And then I'm going to do the same with the right. So lifting from that shoulder, lifting the whole arm ever so gently, just slightly up off the floor, and really lengthening from the shoulder blade all the way out through all of the muscles of the arm, all the way down into the wrist, down into the back of the hand. But I'm allowing, sometimes we work on really activating even the muscles in the fingers all the way down to the fingertips. But I'm allowing that part to rest. And so that I'm just lightly cupping my hands open. Okay, so no effort at all in my hands, just allowing them to rest open in a receptive position. And I take a nice deep breath, and then I can very, very gently invite the back of my neck to lengthen ever so slightly, not trying to press the back of the neck down to the floor. I don't want to flatten my cervical vertebrae, but I want to increase the space between the vertebrae and the back, okay, because tension was pulling those vertebrae, those neck vertebrae together in the back body. So those are the kinds of things that you can begin to notice when you take the time, just slowing down, moving into the breath, placing the body in a supported position, and so nature can act upon it to create healing and wholeness. And so breathe deeply. And sometimes it's nice to exhale with a sound. Maybe a soft sound with the breath flowing out through a very slightly contracted throat. Almost as if you are using your breath to fog up a window, or using your breath to create a little moisture on the lids of your glasses so that you can clean them, because you don't have your nice handy glass cleaners with you. So just that kind of idea of exhaling. And so allowing, I hope that as we have been mindfully exploring the neck and the shoulders, that perhaps even the hips and the legs have started to open out a little bit. So the feet are firmly planted on the floor, but the knees can begin to rest open a little bit, opening out ever so gently, ever so slightly from the hip joint. Okay, so that there's a little bit of external rotation. There's a little flexion at the hips because of the position of the knees and the feet. Okay, so just breathing and noticing, and then very, very gentle rocking. And then go ahead and bring that to stillness. Simply noticing sensation rising and falling away, moment to moment. And then go ahead and set the feet back close together, so back in line with your hips. And then, so this is the position of strength and alignment. And so from here, we want to be in this nice, strong position as we very, very gently engage muscular activity to lift the hips now. And so just maintaining this lift doesn't have to be very high, just high enough so that the sacrum clears the block, okay? And then just very gently reach behind you, remove the block. And then go ahead and slowly lower the sacrum down to the floor. All righty, so now Let's go ahead and roll over onto our sides. And then we're gonna come all the way up to a table pose. And what we're gonna do is we're going to set up a very, very, very basic lunge. So, grab your blocks and place them next to where your hands are, okay? So placing yourself in table pose. So the fingers are spread, okay? It's fine for your hands to be on the blanket, okay? If that's where they land, you don't have to reposition there. And so flexing the wrists and really pressing into the palms of the hands and to all of the knuckles, okay? So all of those connections of the bones, all the many, many bones in your hands, all of those joints, okay? So pressing down and connecting, okay, shoulder blades, okay, through the strong muscles in the upper arms, through the elbow joints, all right, forearms, wrists, pressing down. And knees pressing down, toes curled under, engage your core, okay, just like what we were practicing when we were lying on that block. So engage the core muscles, and then we're just gonna explore gently the range of motion in our wrists. So what I'm gonna invite you to do, okay, perhaps just stay right where you are. If you're having uncomfortable sensation in your wrist joints, and what you can do is you can take your hips back a little bit, okay? So that reduces the angle, or actually increases the angle at the wrist joints, okay? So it's more obtuse, releases pressure, okay, on the wrists. So pressing into the hands, what you can do to explore is bring the hips forward a little bit so that the arms are perpendicular, okay? So I have a lot of sensation in my wrists, all right, and in my hands, but in a good way, okay? It's not painful, but I'm very actively pressing into the palms and really connecting palms to my shoulders. And then I'm just going to explore what happens when I take my hips a little bit forward and actually decrease the angle at my wrist. Just exploring. Okay, so just breathing. And so you play with this, okay, taking hips back, taking hips forward, and notice the relationship between the fingers, the hands, the wrists, the arms, the shoulders, okay, connected through the spinal column to the hips, the knees, the feet. So just very, very slightly taking hips back, taking hips forward, and notice the sensation on the wrists. Now, we were heading to a lunge, but we haven't gotten there yet. We still have plenty of time. So now what I want to do though is the joint freeing for the wrists. Okay, so flexing and extending. So it's all about self-exploration, okay? And there's so much wisdom in the body that, you know, if we can get over our bias, our cultural bias, okay, that the mind is everything and the body is just a burdensome nuisance. So it's always, you know, sending these messages and signals of pain and discomfort and suffering. You know, if instead we allow the mind to really attend to the body and begin to dialogue with the body and nurture the body, we'd be in a whole different place. So that is what I'm doing right now, is I am nurturing my wrists, just flexing and extending, okay? And then go ahead and turn the palms up and then take the hands in and out. So this is the joint frame series. If you participate in yoga and health classes, you're very familiar with it. I have a document, a PDF document I can send to you if you want to learn it. And so then turn the palms down, make fists, and do circles. Breathing and noticing. And then go ahead and take it in the other direction. Okay, so go ahead and bring that to stillness. And now we are going to create the lunge position. So we're going to come back to table pose. And then we're just going to take the right foot and set it in between the hands. Okay, so we have, and the torso is folding forward from the hip joint. Okay, so from the hips, we're just forward folding. Okay, so then take the hands and place them on the blocks. Okay, so curl those back toes under, and then slowly walk this back knee back, okay, a little bit, just taking it where it's willing to go, okay, pain-free range of motion. That's how far you take it back. And then the other cue is taking it only as far back as you can continue to track the left hip forward. Okay, so the buttocks, the low back muscles are engaged. Okay, you can move those blocks in a little closer towards your foot so they're more in line, okay, with your shoulders. So you can, there's variations of hand positions depending on how much support you need. So because I'm really working on core, okay, I'm using core strength to hold me in the pose more than I'm using my hands to hold me up. And so I'm just using teacup hands, and I'm really pressing into my finger pads, being careful to try to keep my fingers, my hands, my wrist in alignment, okay? Another option, and I would have to turn the blocks up a little bit so that I'm still have plenty of open space, okay, through my spine. I don't want to be collapsing over. So I need to lift my blocks a little bit, and now I can make fists with my hands and press my hands into the block, okay? And then with the back foot, I have decided to press the top of the foot down, okay? It's just a different way of activating the muscles in the legs. Okay, so I'm pressing the top of the foot down, pressing the top of my toenails down, okay, and I'm lifting my knee. Now, for some people, there's too much tension in that ankle to allow a pain-free range of motion here, okay? So you can play with it, you can go there, but then if you start to spasm, then just curl the toes under. Okay, so breathing and playing with that. So you have plenty of support in the foot and the legs, support in the hands and the arms and the shoulders, support through the core. So, you know, you only have to allow as much pressure in that back foot and knee, okay, as is therapeutic for you, okay? So to that place, okay, therapeutic, what does that mean? That means that you're holding a position with alignment, okay, and form that is anatomically correct and stable, and you're able to focus on nice, slow, deep breaths. Okay, this is the basic yogic principle of sthira, and sukha, stability and comfort. All right, so now remove the blocks and we're going to transition. Okay, so right knee back. And so just find table pose. Feet flat or toes curled under, either way. Okay, hands far enough forward so that the wrists are comfortable. Allowing length through the torso. Okay, and then just go ahead and inhale and sway. So swaying deeply, letting the belly release down towards the floor. Pressing the tailbone actively up, okay? Pressing the shoulder blades together on the back, noticing the space between the shoulder blades narrowing, okay? As the chest presses forward, sternum pressing forward, lifting through the crown of the head. So you're lifting out through from the shoulders to the neck, to the head, okay? So that the space between the vertebrae are lengthening, okay? The space between the front vertebrae are lengthening, okay? The space between the back vertebrae, the posterior portions of the vertebrae are narrowing, okay? And then we're going to round. So reversing that curve, pressing into the feet, either toes curled under or feet flat, either way. And so now it's opposite, right? So yoga is all about polarity, okay? It's all about opposites, okay? So always when one thing is closing, another thing is opening. So back vertebrae opening, okay, posterior portion of the vertebrae, okay, vertebral bodies. The space between opening, space between in the front, in the ventral part of the body, okay, ventral front, dorsal back, closing. So inhale and sway, and exhale around. Inhale and sway, exhale round, inhale and sway. All right, and then bring the torso neutral, spine neutral, and then we're going to take the other foot forward. So I do believe it is the left one. So once again, finding neutral. All right, so beginning by setting the left knee in line with the left ankle. Hinging at the hips, okay, so you're forward folding, folding the pelvis over the thigh, okay, creating a flexion with the front thigh, creating an extension with the back thigh. So you're walking that foot as far back behind you so that you increase the extension here, but you only take it to where you have a pain-free range of motion. You don't want to force or strain. Okay, and then you just move into your breath. Choosing your hand position, okay, you can play through them. So I like this hand position because it really encourages me to engage my core. Okay, so lots of strength through the floor of the pelvis, lifting forward the pelvis up, engaging all of the side muscles, side body muscles, side abdominal muscles, central abdominal muscles, all of that. Engaging my shoulder blades on the back, really connecting from the shoulder blades to the palms, lengthening. And then once I create that form, okay, based on the principles of alignment, how the body is supposed to work, you know, you just put the body in the position and then the muscles know what to do. So what needs to be lengthened to hold and sustain this form lengthens, and what needs to be contracted, okay, actively engaged, actively engages. It's kind of like magic. So just breathe and notice. Lengthening. Top of the foot pressing down, or toes flexed. Okay, you can play with it. Just it's your practice. It's your body. It's your awareness. So it's breathing and noticing. And then go ahead and let's come out of that. And then what we're going to do now is bring the lower legs so that they're actually on the mat. And then we're going to have a block handy in case we need it. Placed right in front of us where the forehead is going to land. And then take a moment. Okay, so the idea here is to sit back as much as you can. Okay. Now, one of the things that will help you to be able to sit back a little deeper is if you take your thumbs and so there's two calf muscles that come together right behind and below the knee. So if you press into that and then just kind of slide that whole muscle group over, okay, it'll allow a little bit more space for you to sit back. Okay, but again, if this creates pain in your knees, don't go back so far. You could use your other block, okay, or a blanket, okay, to support underneath your buttocks. And then the other thing that is helpful is if you actually reach back, feel your sits bones, and just pull that flesh, okay, that your buttocks, and then allow perhaps the heels to connect to the sits bones, okay? Or having a blanket roll or block between the hips and the heels. And then what we're gonna do is just fold over. You can use your hands to support you. Round the spine, folding belly over. And then forehead on the block or forehead on the mat. If it doesn't quite touch, you really want it to feel very supported by the earth beneath. So if it's having to really reach to get there and you cannot allow a complete release, complete relaxation, then just maybe fold the blanket over if you don't need the height of the block. And then allow the arms to relax, palms turned up, hands close to the feet, and then just move towards breath, awareness of the breath, flowing in, flowing out. Feel the connection of the belly with the thighs. Feel openness in the back body. Aware of sensation, whole body sinking down towards the earth. Breathing, noticing. And then go ahead and roll up, just one vertebrae at a time. Take a moment. And then let's go ahead and end our practice today in a seated position. And so finding any comfortable seat. And then take a moment to allow space. Okay, so allowing the pelvic ring to widen. Okay, imagine muscles fanning out across the sacrum. Imagine muscles fanning out from the spine all the way across, fanning across both shoulder blades. Okay, and just feel your connectedness. Okay. Skin, flesh, bones, tendons, ligaments, all connecting into each other, okay, at the joint spaces. Connecting with the breath, connecting breath to awareness. So whole body sensation, whole body aware, alive, refreshed. And then go ahead and bring the hands together in Anjali Mudra. Bring the base of the thumbs to the sternum and inhale deeply. And then as you exhale, simply hear the sound in your imagination and see the symbol that is Om. Ah, ooh. Thank you very much for practicing with me today. Namaste.